another edition of Working Musicians. I'm John Thiessen, president of El Camino School of Music Repair and Technology, and today I'm with guitar aficionado Bobby Keller.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
So Bobby, first things first, people that don't know about you, tell us a little bit about Bobby Keller, how you got here today.
Well, I started playing guitar pretty much, I'd say semi-professionally back in 2010. I started out here in Orlando with a band called Mechanism. And recently, within the last year or so, I've ventured off into more of a solo-driven project right now. I grew up with a family that was very musically backed. My one uncle, my Uncle Bo, was the first one to actually kind of show me around on a guitar. I wish I would have took him more seriously back then, but I actually didn't start playing until 2009 when I was in Georgia. I was actually playing basketball at school. And I had a lot of free time on my hands, so I was like, what am I going to do with my time? And I started picking up the guitar. I'd always loved the guitar. I always had a big admiration, big music fan. And I just never really sat down with it until then. And then once I did, that's when my whole life just took a whole right turn. So I'm happy to be where I am today for sure. And I owe a lot to the guitar, because it's introduced me with so many people. So I've met so many people along the way. I've gotten to tour. I've gotten to play with a lot of bands that I've considered idols, and it just continues to motivate me, every day. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, for sure.
Now you mentioned your new project, which is completely instrumental guitar.
Instrumental, yeah.
So how is that going from being so many years with Mecca and playing in a formalized band? Now, not only are you the front man, but your guitar is your voice and everything, and you're basically orchestrating all this entire album by yourself. Yeah. How is that going? And how is that experience different from being in a band?
You bring up some good points. One of the biggest adjustments was coming from, like you said, a structured band, vocalist, more of a traditional, setup or whatever. But I had to translate, my guitar playing into more of a vocal, lyrical type realm, and it was definitely an adjustment. It was a challenge I was wanting to take on, for sure, and it was definitely an adjustment for, at the end of the day, it's like, you kind of question yourself a little bit more, and you're always kind of like, are people going to dig this? And I've come to the realization that I'm making the music that I kind of want to hear. I'm making the music that I think people would like, and it's coming from my heart. And when you're an artist or you're a musician, whatever it is, and you're creating your art, that's kind of what you want at the end of the day. You want to be happy with what you're putting out, and of course we're our own worst critics sometimes, but I love what I'm doing right now. I've gotten way deeper into the guitar than I ever was. I think the playing ability that has grown, which I always look at one of my songs and I was like, I want to outdo that one, so how can I outdo this one? And that was kind of the case with Rain and Fire when I released the first single back in 2020, and it got a huge reaction, which I kind of wasn't really expecting, to be honest with you, but I'm very thankful for it. And since then, it's just been the driving motivation to just keep on top, and I wanted to finish the whole album and get it out there hopefully this year. But yeah, it was definitely a challenge, but again, it was something I've always wanted to do. I grew up listening to Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, of course Eddie Van Halen, just big guitar, Dimebag Darrell, big guitar personalities, and I've always just wanted to do the shred instrumental album, and so I finally got the chance to, and so far it's going pretty good. So,
well, as you know, I'm a big fan.
Yes, thank you.
And again, we appreciate you being here. So we know the way of the world. Now we are into 2021. When we first started this series, we were locked down in quarantine, and so things have gotten a little bit better.
Yes.
But you alluded to, you released this new project in the midst of a pandemic.
Yeah.
At this point, you have still never played this
Live,
this music live to an audience.
Yeah.
How was it releasing and taking on a whole new identity in yourself during the middle of this crazy world that we're living in? And the music scene, the touring industry is decimated, but here you released this thing to quite a great success in the middle of a pandemic. How was it trying to release something without having tour be the next thing, or without having those normal formulas that we go through every year?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely unexpected, obviously, and when I released Rain and Fire, it was right when Florida was starting to go into the lockdown. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to be doing here? Should I even release it? Should I hold on to it and wait? Should I just, kind of wait and see what happens? But, to be honest with you, I felt kind of obligated to release it because, I felt like everybody was going through such a confusing and, such a state of limbo because no one really knew what was going to happen. And unfortunately, it did, last, up to this point pretty much. And, I think that, releasing the music is just anything that would help anybody, cope with what's going on. And that's why I decided to put it out and keep releasing the singles up to this point. And it was, yeah, everybody's been affected by it. So one way or another, some worse than others, some, have actually taken this time and used it wisely and used it to their advantage. And I was just talking with my friend James literally today. We were saying, with people that are taking this time and using it to their advantage, and then with the lack of the bigger bands or whatever you want to call it, it's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit, and it's it's forced us to be more creative and reach out there and look at different ways of trying to get our music or our art out there.
Sure.
And I think that because of that, there have definitely been some positives to this, but unfortunately, I know we're all just dying to get back to live music, as I am, because like you said, I haven't played these songs live yet, and it's just like it's so like
But I think it's a testament to the time and still people's engagement in music, because you released this almost 100% digitally on the backs of your music videos that you had with some of these singles, and that helped you find an audience, a national and global audience, without ever leaving Central Florida. I mean, you conceived of all this stuff, released it to the world, and got national and global accolades for it.
It definitely makes you think, it definitely makes you wonder, and even as, putting this stuff out, it makes me wonder, is this going to be where it's going to be going, and or at least a different side of the whole experience, because I could play a show live, or we could tour, and maybe I do have a camera or two up that's live streaming the event, so people that are maybe in the venue, or I'm not in the venue, in the city, that can't make it to the show, but they can still see it, so it's definitely different now, and in a way too, it kind of opens up revenue streams for artists and bands to possibly make more money now, because we're all trying to do what we can to make as much to keep everything going. And now that I think about it, it's just it's that moment in time, I think, where everything just kind of changes, and it's going to open us all up to a different type of entertainment, really.
Have you been doing any live streaming or different vehicles of communicating with your audience?
I love to do like the Facebook live streams. Those seem to be the easiest route. But I would like to, if shows don't really come back later, or they come back later than sooner or whatever. I have, once the album was finished and everything, I did think about doing a live stream, a big show type thing, and it's something you got to think about now, because that's kind of where everybody's going, and I'd love to do a live, obviously a tour, go across and bring everything with me, and even maybe go to Europe, of course, or Japan or somewhere over there. But it's just, that's where we'll kind of have to wait around and just see what happens. So
now, being let's just say a solo artist with you and your drummer, I mean, how is that different from the camaraderie you had in a band? Obviously, being part of a bigger infrastructure, much like me, you have a team. These are people you go to battle with, not just you and your tech and your drummer and those things. But when you're actually part of a formalized band, you do have somebody that also can limit some of your creativity. They go, no, that's not what I'm looking for, or you have to work together as a team. Is it harder to toe that road by yourself? Because you're the only one kind of putting the limitations on yourself right now, but you're also the only one motivating yourself as well.
No, that's a good question, and that's something I definitely kind of toss back and forth, because being the only person. Well, I shouldn't really say I'm the only person, because truthfully, me and Ben collaborate quite a bit during the writing process, and thankfully I have Ben as not only one of my good friends, but he's also my bandmate, where he's more in charge of the drumming and that kind of area, the areas of the song. But when we're writing songs, you know, we'll collaborate and bounce off each other. And to be honest, it's been a great relationship because we really do work very well together. And you know, we're always kind of one step ahead of each other, or we're right on that same page. And you know, that was one of the things with Rain and Fire. It was one of those songs we wrote pretty fast. It just flew out of both of us, you know, and it was a game changer, you know, kind of for both of us in a way. And you know, he's able to just take ideas, you know, or riffs that I'll do, and he kind of just elaborates on them. And I do miss, you know, like the camaraderie, because you know, with Mechanism, we were all like a big giant family, and I know we had you know, pieces that were coming in and out, but you know, we were all still very close friends. You know, I like to think of it like kind of like the Bay Area scene back in the day, how like Exodus members were trading with Slayer, and Slayer was going with Megadeth, and you know, it's kind of like those types of situation, which is great. You know, it just says a lot about our scene as well in Orlando.
So you were talking about obviously upping your guitar prowess during the quarantines and doing this stuff. You had a lot of free time on your hands. You've only upped your own game. Are there any other things that you've been doing during the quarantine creatively? Do you pick up cooking, or you know, any new hobbies that you picked up during the last year and a half that now you're better at? You know, you picked up some new hobby that nobody would know about.
Yeah, I mean, it's like going back a little bit to the whole, you know, you got to stay creative, and you just got to, you know, try and find what works. You know, through the whole thing, obviously, I've been playing guitar every day. I don't think there's been a day I don't pick up a guitar, at least, or if there's one close by. But on top of that, I love to cook. Me and my girlfriend, we've been exploring all kinds of different recipes, and like we'll watch crazy YouTube videos like, oh, we got to try to cook that.
Sure.
And I also recently just went pretty much plant-based. I wouldn't say 100% vegan because I could still eat like seafood and stuff, but it was kind of a weird thing where my body just was like, we can't eat meat anymore. So with that has come with a whole different outlook on food, and you know, having to, you know, prepare things differently, and it's been fun, actually, to be honest with you. We try to be as creative as we can with that. I've actually started to do a lot more like kind of like photography in a way, like with my phone, or like I'll just try and capture like different moments you know, throughout the day, and then like I kind of reflect on them, and like, you know, like this has been a great day. Why? Because I've done this, and this, and I've tried to do something towards my goal, or you know, try to finish some of the songs and stuff like that. So it's kind of just been like, I take every day as like a day to build towards something. You know?
Sure.
So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing most of the time.
I find a lot of people are, especially so many people are unemployed, so many people are not on tour, but obviously aside from even music, there's a lot of unknowns right now. But sitting in that idle time, I know, is getting the best of a lot of people. You know, and without having some empowerment or some new avenues, sitting with idle hands can be a real detrimental thing. So it's great to hear that you found avenues to keep those hands working. You know, keep waking up every day being positive, because I think most people can learn from that, because when they hear this, you know, going the opposite direction, well, I don't see anything on the horizon, I don't know when the next gig is. It's not like you've got one on the calendar.
It's true.
You know, you can look far down the path and not see it. That can be very defeating, and it can give people a lot of excuses to go in different directions. And I think that once the negative headspace starts to steamroll, it's hard to dig your way out.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. It's hard to dig out, because you know, I know that I've had my moments. You know, I'll be honest. You know, there's been a lot of idle time, and you're just kind of wondering, you know, why am I still doing this? You know, but you know, I was just talking again to somebody else the other day, and you know, just seeing the reactions out of the songs, and the reactions out of, you know, maybe my style of guitar playing is very motivating, because you know, it's just everybody's been digging it, you know, so far. And you know, I'm very thankful for everybody that's shown their appreciation, including yourself, and that's what's keeping, you know, everything going. And you know, there's always a positive to a negative. You always kind of have to look at the situation and just, you know, it really only, if you're all the way down here, the only way you can go is up. You know, so it's just, you got to just keep going and stay motivated, however you choose to do so, and however you can. You know, that's just the best advice I can give. You know, just stay positive, keep trucking, you know, don't stop, you know, and then hopefully when everything gets back to normal, you'll be one of those people ready to go.
Sure.
Because, you know, with like, you know, we were talking about earlier too, like with everything the way it is, and some people aren't going to be able to do these gigs, or some people won't be able to do that tour. But now that there's more people available, and maybe people that are more known about, due to everything going on with social media, that's some opportunities will definitely arise. So gotta be ready.
I was watching a documentary on Netflix. I can't remember which of the million I've seen.
So
but somebody was talking about sometimes you have to springboard, almost like jumping in a pool. Sometimes you have to springboard off the bottom to get back up to the top. And so sometimes actually hitting bottom helps you springboard up.
Yeah.
But so if you had a crystal ball, what do you foresee 2021? We're still in early 2021. New president, new this, new that, new times. Industry is still not looking like it's coming back very quickly, but do you have a crystal ball, and what do you anticipate happening throughout the rest of the year?
Well, I think if I had a crystal ball, I would hope that everything starts to come back quicker, and sooner than later. I know that there's been some some pretty difficult things, that a lot of people have had to cope with and deal with, and everybody's kind of been affected differently. So I know there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen as far as getting COVID under control, and hopefully the vaccines and everything coming out will be beneficial to everybody, and just trying to get us back to some sort of normalcy. And if I had the crystal ball, I'd be like, summer, right on my birthday, August 1st, everything's coming back. We're gonna have a big shot of whiskey or whatever you guys drink that day, and everything's gonna be okay. I would love that, but I know that it's gonna take a little bit more time. And I think that hopefully by fall, at least by summer or fall, we start to see the bigger shows come back, and the bigger tours or the bigger festivals. And I understand that there's that 50-50. There's people that are afraid and don't want to really necessarily go out because they're concerned, or they have legitimate stuff to worry about. And then there's some people that are like, let's just all go and whatever. But I think we all just have to remain conscious of everybody. We have to respect everybody, and be kind to everybody. And I think this is a great start so far, to where we need to be at. And hopefully, things will come back just soon, because I really want to play these songs live.
Sure. Well, I've noticed that even the difference from actually being able to have shows. My band's been able to perform since the quarantine and things. And it started at a lot of those venues that were doing the socially distanced and that they're being responsible, but it really lost a lot of energy when you have an audience that now has to sit or has to be this far apart. When you come from scenes like ours or the music I grew up with, going to see Flogging Molly or bands that bred camaraderie, be it in a mosh pit or this or that, being around other people. My wife's big into the electronic festivals and that kind of stuff. Those are the bread and butter of those, is the camaraderie that people have with each other. And it doesn't mean you have to be on everybody's piggybacking and hugging and kissing, but everybody being socially distanced or having to be so restrained, I think is sometimes detrimental to the artist, because it's great. We'll take what we can get, and I think that's, we're making the best of it. But when getting audience engagement and getting that shared experience is part of your bread and butter, when you miss that and you have to be over here and you have to be over there, some of that camaraderie is not there. And
it's the experience.
Yeah.
You look. I know one thing I have done with all this time is I watch all the old YouTube videos, the big Vakken festivals, and just seeing. I want to Pantera.
Sure.
When they played in Russia, it's like those. I would love just seeing the crowds, and it's just like, it makes you wonder, like, man, like, the experience of a live show, you can never change that. You can never take that away, because you're right, the camaraderie. You walk into a festival by yourself, you come out with like 5 or 6 friends, because everybody, and the heavier music, metal and rock, we're all just a big family, and it's like, you take that away, or you take away that personal experience. You go into a show, it's like, it makes it more sterile, and it's just not what you want or what you're used to, and moving forward, it's like, is that the way it's going to be? Hopefully not, but it's like, we have to find the ways of getting that back, and and whatever that takes, we need to do it, because our whole industry is just flipped upside down. We got to get it back to where it needs to be.
I did find something interesting. Obviously, right after the quarantine, there was like WrestleMania, and they did this first time WrestleMania, and they had no audience, no, and everybody was doing it in the, it was completely silent when they were doing it. But they just did a Survivor Series recently when the Undertaker retired, and they actually filled the stadium up with video screens. And they said everybody who was basically doing their FaceTiming or whatever, they all could be part of it, and they all could be an active participant. But as the performer, you were able to look out and see the sea of faces. Now, every one of them was one person looking at looking at their camera at their house, but they were able to participate and actually do the chants and actually get So there was some shared camaraderie because the performers need that. I think as a performer, feeding off the audience. It always sucks when you're playing to an audience that isn't into what you're doing. But playing to nobody and not getting that feedback is tough. So it's great to live stream, but when you finish a song and you're not getting that instant gratification from an audience that's digging it, or giving you any feedback to go, that sucked, now I need to retool a little bit, without getting that instant kind of feedback and response, it's kind of hard to know.
With like the live streams, like I just saw the Kiss one where they were where were they, in Dubai, and like it's like they had the biggest stages and the biggest, and I love Kiss, and they did a phenomenal job, but it's like when you hear them stop playing and there's no crowd roar, it just like it really just kind of hits you, and like, what do I do? It's like, I don't know you don't know how to react, because you love the song, but it's like that energy's missing.
Sure.
And it's just like so that's like where again, it's like you can't replace the live shows.
Well, and Bruce Dickinson always would talk about, performing to if you have 80,000 people, you don't play to this guy. You're yelling all the way to the back, but it doesn't matter if you have a counter and it says you've got 5 million people watching, on the live stream.
I can't hear those 5
million. You're still you're not getting the big bang and the big push that you're getting,
Yeah, no, agreed.
To wrap it up, Bobby, do you have any, you can look in the camera, do you have any, words of wisdom for Bobby Keller? First of all, where can they find you, people that have been hearing about this and want to pick up that? Let's do that first, get the plugs out of the way.
You can find pretty much everything on my website, BobbyKellerOfficial.com. I'm on iTunes, every major platform, Spotify, of course, just type in Bobby Keller. BobbyKellerOfficial.com will get you everywhere you need to go, pretty much.
And since we are both fans of overcoming people's the downtrodden nature, the gloom and doom and gloom and that kind of thing, do you have any positive words for our audience about the future, maybe their headspace, and what your...
Of course, yeah.
What positive words does Bobby have for the universe out there?
Positive words for the universe. If you love something and you put all of your heart and all of your soul into it, anything's possible. And even though you might hit some speed bumps, you might hit some roads, roadblocks, whatever you want to call them, don't stop. Because if it's truly what you love, and you imagine yourself and you manifest, you put everything you have into it, it'll happen. Dreams come true. And if anybody is a testament, I can tell you right now, like I've had experiences happen, that I never thought in a million years. When I first picked up the guitar in 2009, I never thought, I'd be endorsed with the guitar I started out with, with the ESP guitars. Like, I mean, it's just crazy. And I always, look back and think, how did this happen? And it's just hard work, dedication, just not giving up. And really, honestly, so don't give up. Anybody in here.
The only way out is
keep
through,
doing
right?
the damn thing.
This has been another episode of Working Musicians. Bobby, thank you so much, Bobby Keller, for being here. It's an absolute pleasure. Make sure to go check him out online. Make sure to follow us on YouTube and out on the interweb. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you down the road.